After 4 p.m., a very much anticipated conversation. Since the introduction of South Africa's two-pot retirement system, which is just over a year ago, it was in September of last year, about 3.3 billion US dollars, that equates to 57 billion rand, South African rands, has been withdrawn from retirement savings. About 4 million withdrawals were made under the new system, and 478,000 of these were repeat withdrawals. A report by an insurance company, Liberty, has found that many of the withdrawal claims were used to, perhaps unsurprisingly, pay off debt and cover education costs. For more on this, we joined on the line by John Taylor, who's head of corporate benefits consulting at Liberty. John, good to have you with us. Welcome to Africa in Business.
Thank you so much for having me, Thami.
So are these results surprising? My colleagues and I were actually just having a chat about this earlier on and asking, if you had withdrawn those funds, what would you have used them for? The fact that many were using them to pay off debts and to pay off education, loans, etc. Was this surprising for you?
I don't think it's too surprising that that's where some of the money went. I think I'm heartened by the fact that that seems to be where a lot of the money did flow towards. It's difficult to know with because it wasn't a requirement for anybody making a savings plan to submit a reason for it. But we are heartened by the fact that it seems to be the general trend where people said they were spending the money.
So apart from those two items, line items, what else were people spending their money on?
I think that there were some improvements on property. We did see a spike in used car registrations come through in September of last year, which is when the initial seeding and access was allowed. So I think there was a little bit of spend on those sorts of things. We did see a couple of dribs and drabs where people could say that they spent the money on discretionary spend as well, but that was in the minority.
Did any use that money for investments?
I think there were a few people, but I think in general it was used for consumption and paying off debt.
And can you take us through the profiles of those who made these withdrawals? Who did you talk to?
So in general, by our statistics as Liberty, we saw that the bulk of our withdrawals were for individuals aged 30 to 50, unsurprisingly, I guess. And in particular, we saw that there was a slight trend towards more females towards males, so about 55% males and 45% females making these withdrawals.
That's quite an interesting age bracket that you're looking at. Between 30 and 50 were the ones who were withdrawing their retirement funds?
Yes, correct. And I think it's partially to do with the fact that younger individuals possibly didn't have enough saved to be able to make a claim at outset. And then on the scale where people are 50 and older, they might be the ones looking at retirement being more imminent and saying, look, maybe it's not so wise to defend. We did have some numbers there, but the majority were in that middle bracket.
And do we know the numbers of those who opted not to withdraw from their savings pot, who exercised a level of discipline there?
By our statistics, about 60% or 3 in 5 of our members at Liberty have not withdrawn yet, which was an encouraging number. That was the big unknown at the start of the system, so whether we'd see 100% take-up or 10% take-up. And the reality is we saw about 40%. So 2 in 5 members came forward. And when the new tax year started in South Africa on the 1st of March this year, we saw about half of those. So again, 1 in 5 of our total membership come forward to make a second claim.
And talking about that, we did at the start of the tax season, a number of taxpayers were shocked that they now owed the South African Revenue Services, SARS. How many of those withdrawals caused members to move into higher tax brackets? And is this something that they were aware of right from the start?
I think that was probably the big, not surprise, but I think it was the rude awakening for a lot of members at the outset, was that when they made the claim, it would be taxed at the marginal rate, which is a lot higher than the average tax rate. It's effectively the next bracket that they would be moved into. So that was a big thing. And what we did see is members misunderstanding when they were asked for their taxable income for the year. Perhaps they didn't understand why it was being asked for. Maybe it's difficult to calculate that, but SARS was going to come and say, actually, you earned more than what you said up front. So we do have to caution that when making these savings plans withdrawals, be aware of the income tax implication and be aware that even if you don't state the correct taxable income at the point of claiming, at assessment stage, SARS is going to get their dues.
Oh, yes, SARS always has to take their bit. We thank you so much, John Taylor, for taking us through that report. And, just wondering if, with the next uptake, or people will actually be withdrawing, or maybe there might be a bit more caution. I guess we'll have to see. John Taylor, we thank you so much for your insight this afternoon. Much appreciated, sir.
Thanks very much.
Thank you. He's head of corporate benefits consulting at Liberty. He takes us to 33 minutes after 4 p.m. Central African time as we head over now to the markets desk where Nosipho Zuma is standing by with your latest market indicators.